All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we're getting into self-improvement, okay? One or two things we think we can better, improve on ourselves and how we can go about getting to that improvement. And we got some fan submissions on things that they want to improve about themselves and get better at. So we talk about those and we discuss some methods, some tips and tricks on improving those things about yourselves. So all of that plus a cage fact, of course, coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. It's the show that talks about nothing but seems to find the lessons in everything. And we started, we pride ourselves on that now. At least I do anyway. I don't know about you guys, but I pride myself on trying to find some lessons, entertain the masses, keep things light and entertaining and funny and what have you, and then, come out learning something in the end. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do here. Thank you guys for tuning in. For all you newcomers or newcomer, I don't know, welcome. Got a lot going on this week. A lot going on. I'm on the road, as you can see. I'm in this hotel room in the trenches of war. Different trenches this time in PA, doing National Guard duty. I'm lucky I don't have a roommate. Otherwise, I would have been recording this from my rental car, and that would have been an absolute circus act. So maybe one of these days I might have to end up doing that. We'll see. But right now I'm in the hotel by myself, talking to myself. I'm looking actually in a mirror over here. It's real weird, talking to yourself in a mirror like a psychopath. So that's where we're at today. So I hope you guys are having a good week or had a good week. I sure did. I worked all my guard duty in PA, and by the time you're listening to this, I'll be back down in the LPDS ranch down in Texas. So, a lot going on. We're talking about self-improvement this week, okay? I polled the audience in the past couple weeks to find out if there's one thing that you would most want to improve about yourselves, what would that be? And if you had some time, give me a little bit of a why you would want to improve yourselves in that regard, and what it would do for you. So I polled the audience for that because I think it's important that we kind of look introspectively into ourselves to figure out where we can get better, where we can improve. So I'll discuss all that stuff over in the Junction. But first, I got a lot of catching up to do with you guys. The last episode we had with the wet cat and the creature, we didn't get into the current events of the day. Now I like to try to make these episodes timeless. I think they call it evergreen, is what the creature told me in the past. But if hot topic current events pop up that we need to we can learn and get lessons from, we're going to talk about them here. So the first one I want to discuss is something that I'm late to the game on. In fact, I'm late to the game for myself, but not compared to the rest of this world, right now. But apparently JP Morgan or one of the other banks was charged and indicted or something like that with aiding the financial side of things with the Jeff Epstein child sex trafficking ring. So for the newcomer out there, I am big on the Jeff Epstein stuff, okay? I try to cover as much of the updated information as I can to bring light to this tragic situation because nobody else seems to want to talk about it. All right, it's terrible what went down for years and years at that island and with that guy and with Ghislaine, with all those people who are getting away with child rape. So if I can bring to light to 2 or 3 people, it's better than what's going on right now in the media where they're snuffing this story. So the most recent update, this happened in December. JP Morgan got charged. I think it was JP Morgan. If I'm wrong, I'm getting suicided by JP Morgan. But yeah, they got charged with aiding Jeff Epstein and his child sex trafficking ring. Back in December, this happened. Okay, nobody heard about it. Nothing happened. They covered up with a bunch of other stupid stories. I forgot what the big stories were that they used to cover it up. Maybe the George Santos stuff, the liar stuff. I'm sure there was some climate change things with Greta Thunberg in there. Some race-related stuff, some border-related stuff. You know. Throw a dart at the board of all the political topics that they're going to start hitting real hard in the next 2 years with election season coming up, and that's what they're going to cover the story, cover up with. So that's that with the Epstein stuff. Now, speaking of George Santos, real quick, I don't know if I have the picture. I'll try to find it. If I can, I'll pop it up here. If not, you won't see anything pop up here. But somebody released. Not receipts, but records, the logs of George Santos's campaign financing. And the reason this is interesting is because according to campaign finance rules and regulations, any expense that's over 200 hours or more has to have a receipt associated with that expense. So you get your campaign funds, and then you go and spend them on whatever it is that you have to justify it, that's for the campaign, to support the campaign in some way, shape, or form, and then you got to fill out a log and submit the log. Now, if the expense is 200 hours or more, you have to submit a receipt with that log to show exactly what you spent, $1,000+ on or whatever it was. Well, George Santos has dozens and dozens of expenses on his log that all rang in at $199 and a couple of cents. Okay? Now, technically speaking, that's all above board, according to the campaign finance rules. However, if you looked at some of the stuff on that list, it's ridiculous. He has 6 or 7 Uber rides for $199.34 or 46 cents or whatever it was, some arbitrary, cent number. 6 or 7 of them off the top, just from the one picture alone. A bunch of dinners that rang in at, coincidentally, $199 only. It was like weird dinners, like fast food, like McDonald's, some other stuff that was just ridiculous stuff. And all because it was $199 or less, or $200 or less, he didn't have to show a receipt to prove it. So for all we know, he was gallivanting around, doing his own thing, spending that money on God knows what, and calling it Uber rides and campaign dinners and fundraising dinners and all this other stuff that just so happened to be less than 200 hours. Now, this is why I bring this up. Because we all know politicians are sleazy, disgusting, lying, corrupt criminals that only care about themselves and lining their pockets and getting power. But I bring this up because people have been pushing back, the George Santos stands or whatever you want to call them, have been pushing back like, oh, well, the military does this stuff too with their travel and their temporary duty and this and that. Here's what the military does, and I want to clarify this because I think there's a distinct difference between people in the military, war heroes like myself, and sleazebags like George Santos and AOC and all those other disgusting, deplorable sewer rats in Congress and the Senate. In the military, when we go on trips, we fill out our orders, requests, or whatever on the Defense Travel System, DTS, okay? And we have to log everything we spend our money on and what, the travel costs and the lodging and the rental car and all that stuff, the food and whatever. And our regulation is anything under $75 does not require a receipt. So if you get gas on your rental car, or if you get food that you put on your government travel card, $75 or less, you're in the clear. Anything $75 or more, you gotta have a receipt to prove its worth. And I've been hearing a lot of people say, well, the military's been abusing this for years. They put everything at $74, this and that. And look, I'm not here to deny any of that. On behalf of the military, I don't speak for the military, as you know. I speak for myself only. If that's going on, I'm not mad about it on the military side. And here's why. And you can call me a hypocrite all you want, but here's why. Because the vast majority of the people in the military are getting banged in the behind by Uncle Sam day in and day out with ridiculous orders and tasks and deployments and BS jobs and working ridiculous hours and making them do stupid things all the time and paying them like paupers to do it and cheaping them out on the lodging that they get and the food that they get and the accommodations that we get when we travel. So if a couple of military members are throwing in a few expenses of $74 or less so they don't have to account for it on a receipt, that's why I'm not too mad about it, okay? Uncle Sam gets their cut from us day in and day out. In fact, they get more. The house always wins. Uncle Sam is beating us hand over fist day in and day out. So if a couple of members of the military have been, fudging their numbers a little bit to get that 74 or less on a couple of items, whatever. George Santos is a career liar. He hasn't been earning anything in his life. He's lied his way to his current position, which is his first time in this role, and he's already trying to take advantage of that system that he wasn't even a part of at the time. He was campaigning to be part of this corrupt world, and he was already corrupt. So before we go throwing stones at military members for doing this, and there are some that are just sleazy, I got it. It's like that in every walk of life. Let's remember that the majority of them, even if they are sleazy, Uncle Sam is getting his. All right, he's getting his VIG off the top every single day from us, even the sleazy ones. Whereas George Santos and AOC and Nancy Pelosi and who else? That Muppet Mitch McConnell, Kelsey Grammer, what's his name? Lindsey Graham. They're all living high on the hog, creating the laws and rules that allow them to get away with all this stuff without having to pay the piper, like the folks in the military. So I wanted to bring that up to identify that distinction between the two before you start throwing stones at our veterans and our war heroes like myself. Moving on. Got a lot of stuff here. What else have we got here? All right, here's something I wanted to bring up. Actually, let's get to the garbage first, and then I'll bring up this more fun stuff, if you will. I was talking about Uncle Sleepy Joe Biden, the president, getting busted for classified in his garage in his library, and how the topic of conversation was how it was better than Trump because they volunteered the information, this and that, and I went on a whole rant about how we have to call all these slime balls out and these criminals out for breaking the law. And we have to hold all of them accountable. Well, in the past 2 weeks, and I didn't get to it last week because we had special guests on, former Vice President Mike Pence got busted for having documents, I think, at his house or something. So he should be investigated and held accountable for it. Furthermore, and this guy is actually in the middle of an investigation. It's because he's a general or a former military member, a retired lieutenant colonel, and he's not a corrupt, dirty, slimy politician who's getting away with it. A former retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force got busted for, I got allergies up in this. The temperature changes from south to north, bust my schnoz up. So I'm itching and scratching here in YouTube land, and I know it's annoying. It's annoying me just as much, I'm sure, as annoying you. But anyway, this lieutenant colonel got busted for also having classified information at his house. Now, there's no confirmation that he was selling it for doing anything malicious. It looks to be the same as the two dopey presidents and the dopey former vice president, where they just brought it home from work and left it there because they're dopey and bozos and careless, and they think that they're above reproach. At least this guy is under investigation for it. I'm waiting to hear when Biden's going to be investigated and when Pence is going to be investigated. And we all know Trump is being investigated because the left hates him, so of course they're going to find a way to investigate him. But not their boys. I don't know what's going on with the other two nincompoops, but this has to stop, okay? This is a constant problem with our elected officials, not just with the classified documents, but with everything. Sleazing on their expenses, insider trading, they don't train for anything. They just take and take and take and break the rules and break the rules and break the rules and get away with it every single time, and we continue to vote these people in. What is that saying that they have? The rules are for thee, but not for me. That's exactly what's going on. They're making the law, they're changing the law, they're skirting around the law, they're breaking the laws, and nothing's happening because they're the delicate geniuses, after all, that we voted in. So I like to make mention of these all the time, not just to bitch and moan about it, but at least somebody's got to hold them accountable. And if it's just me and my 25 listeners, my ride or dies that are going to do it and talk about it, that's fine. It's better than zero, than what's been going on currently. So that's that. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before we get into the business. This is, I think I gotta watch this. This is a dating show. I saw a commercial for this when I, living down in the Wild West now. It's for this dating show about farmers and cowboy types working on a ranch, ranchers, farmers, whatever, who want to find love, and they bring in a couple of city gals who can't find love in the city, probably because there's something wrong with them, and they bring them out to the country, and they have a dating show, and all these bachelors and bachelorettes try to do farm sex and ranching and making out and trying to find love, and it's called Farmer Wants a Wife. The commercial was out of control because they really try to play it up like, oh, we're just looking for love and this is serious business here, and they get all choked up and there's drama and there's intrigue, and let me tell you something. Libretti's intrigued. All right, I might have to watch this one because it's just so out of control out there. I started feeling for these folks, these guys and gals out there, just looking for cowboy love, working hard on the ranch or the farm, whatever they're doing, and it's just tough for them to find a soulmate. So I might go watch it. It's either that or the New Jersey Shore because I'm a sucker. One of those two smuts have to be put on my TV in the coming weeks, so I'll make a decision. I'll let you know. But I want, if you haven't seen it yet or haven't heard of it, go look it up on the YouTubes on the commercial, or for that commercial for Farmer Wants a Wife. Incredible, incredible stuff. Now, with that, real quick. By the time you listen to this, actually the Super Bowl won't happen yet, which is good. But I've been in the rental car and in Pennsylvania, and all these radio stations are all Eagles all the time. Eagles football talk all the time, and all they've been talking about is how good this team is and how they're a dynasty and how they're winning everything, and they're comparing them to their 2017 Eagles team and this and this and that. And I just want to go on record now, before the Super Bowl happens, I believe that the Eagles sports analysts and fans on the radio have already jinxed the Eagles into losing this game. So if they lose, now you know why. In the LPDS universe here, you know why. It's because these guys have been doing nothing but talking about the Eagles Super Bowl championship coming up and how they're already planning the ticker tape parade, and the special commemorative items that they're going to sell and this and that, and comparing the teams and who's the better quarterback and this. They're jinxing it, okay? And if they lose, you heard it here first. All right? And as a Giants fan, I wouldn't be too mad about that. With that, let's move on. We'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Justice Beaver's Razor Blades. Are you tired of spending hundreds of dollars each month on razor blades just to shave your body once and have to throw them away? Well, now you don't have to with Justice Beaver's Razor Blades. You see, JBDs are ergonomically superior, self-lubricated, and self-sharpening blades that you no longer have to replace once a week. The unpatented technology allows the blade to sharpen and lube with each swipe of the razor so you can cleave that bead with ease and save money in the process. So to get the last blade you'll ever purchase today, visit www.bladebaby.com, and if you use the promo code Baby You Can Shave Yourself, you'll get 29% off your first and only blade. I've been dying for cheaper blades or blades that last longer. I tried all of them. Dollar Shave Club, Harry's, Schick, Bic, Wick, Stick. None of them. None of them are good enough. I go with the Gillette Fusion, the Mach 3, whatever you want to call it, the Mark 4, whatever they are, the Fusion Pro Glides, because they have the best ergonomics and the best goo lubricant on the blade, and it lasts the longest. It's also the most expensive. It's egregious how expensive they are. So hopefully Justice Beavers can save the day, because I am hurting with all this manscaping stuff. All right, Cage Fact. In his string of interviews that he's been doing the past year or two for all his blockbuster hits going on, he did an interview on Jimmy Kimmel, and they were trying to debunk a bunch of stories and myths and legends about the Great One. A couple of them we already talked about in previous Cage Facts, but this one was about, and this is corroborated, Nic Cage corroborated this, but several years ago he was stalked by two mimes. And I'm pretty sure we have not discussed this in the past. I know he had one time that creepo guy break into his house and stand over him in the middle of the night wearing his jacket and eating a chocolate ice cream pop. And I don't remember the mime thing. I could be wrong. If I discussed it already, I apologize. But if not, he was stalked by two mimes for a little while. They were just following him around. They weren't saying anything, obviously. And it got to the point where he actually approached them like a boss. You know, when you approach strangers as a celebrity, you don't know what you're going to get with these people. They could be psychopaths, you know, trying to kill you or do whatever, who knows. Especially mimes, because they're not talking. They're just standing there existing. So you don't know what's going on in their head. You don't know what's going on inside their painted bodies and weird costumery and what have you. But the Great One went right up to him and pretty much politely told him, you're going to stop. You're going to stop following me right this instant. And they stopped. Without saying a word, shocker, they stopped. And that's not a pun. That's a direct quote from Nic Cage himself. He said they stopped without uttering a word. So just imagine you're Nic Cage, you got snakes and crows, and you do mushrooms with your cat, and you were in Vampire's Kiss, and you played John Travolta's, body double, face double, and you're walking around and you're being stalked by two psychotic mimes. Two nut job, probably pedos, sex criminals who don't even talk. They're just following you, lurking in the shadows. Dressed up like shadows, essentially. Now imagine Nic Cage going after them. What if they got to a fight? and he had to take him down. That would have been absolutely incredible. But he was polite and professional as he always is, and things turned out okay for him. So there you go. That's the Cage fact. All right, moving on into the Junction. We'll spin the logo up here. Talking about self-improvement, folks. Okay, one of the big things we always discuss here on the LPDS, especially with the big three, is trying to get better as human beings, as people, as men, as women, as husbands, fathers, daughters, wives, whatever it is. We always want to get better, and we want to try to improve ourselves. And part of that improvement is identifying our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses, where we can improve. Taking that step back, that LPDS step back, and looking within yourself, being a little introspective, and finding out where you can probably get better. So I polled the audience. We put it out to you guys, the fans, to find out where you think you personally would want to get better the most, if you had to pick one. Now, realistically, you guys are an incredible fan base, and you are very introspective, way more so than a lot of other people in this world. So I know there's multiple things that you want to improve upon in yourself, and you understand that. But I asked for, if you could pick one, what would it be? Like the one thing you would want to most improve. And that's where it starts. It starts with one. And that's the thing about improvement and getting better at something and accomplishing a goal is you don't have to do all of everything all at once. You baby steps. You just start with one thing, one day at a time, and you keep working until you slowly get to improvement. So I told you to pick one. You guys did a great job with that. I got a lot of good feedback, and we'll get right into it. And then we'll, try to figure out how to get better. So this one person here said that if they can pick one thing that they would want to improve upon themselves, it would be how they respond to idiots in their lives. And knowing this person, I don't know how often she's able to listen to the podcast, but I know her from the exercise community, if you will. She works out at the gym that the Bone Crusher frequents, and then I go to sometimes when I was living down there with the Bone Crusher. And what I think she's referring to is she gets accosted and approached by a lot of sleazeballs and greasy, slimy SOBs at the gym all the time because they're trying to hit on her, or they're pretending that they're trying to help her out, and it's really they're just being sleazy and inappropriate. And I'm sure she gets that in her public life as well, like outside of the gym. So that stuff gets frustrating. Okay, when 90% of your interactions with the opposite sex are negative, and they come at you slimily, if you will. And I try to minimize the slime, but you get to the point where you just start reacting negatively as well. And you start yelling at them and snapping back at them. And instead of being polite and saying, please stop talking to me, or I'm busy, thank you, but no, you get angry. And I get it. I would get angry too. It's sometimes at that stage in the game, embarrassment is the only way to teach some of these sleazeballs a lesson. And if they're getting to the point, if they're crossing the threshold of harassment and abuse, then all bets are off almost. Then you go in on them. So I'm sure she's gotten to the point where some sleazeball, some dude approaches her, and she's immediately just snapping back at him and yelling at him and what have you. So if she can get better at one thing, she wants to get better at that and not yelling at them and responding a little bit more positively to these idiots. It'll be better for her overall, her peace of mind. It'll keep her blood pressure down a little bit, which is always a good thing. And again, it speaks to the maturity of the fans here of identifying, like, this is a shortfall I have and I need to get better at it. So thank you for that submission. All right, the next one here. This person wants to get better sleep and be able to stop worrying about quote unquote shit that don't matter. Now, this seems like it's two separate things, but it's kind of not. And here's why. Sleep is very important. It's one of the most important things you can do to be healthier and better overall, is to get good sleep. Okay, you'll feel more refreshed. It's better for your body to rest your body and get the replenishment it needs, the revival it needs. It adds years to your life. Sleep is one of the most, if not the most important thing you can do, is get a good night's sleep. With that though, if you get that good night's sleep, you sleep better overall, you're naturally not going to be tired, ornery, short-fused. And you're going to stop worrying about some of the stupider shit in your lives. Think about it, what happens to you when you're tired overall and you try to do anything else for the day. Whether you're working out or playing a sport or trying to do a math problem or homework or writing or reading or anything. It's always more difficult and you're always more impatient with that certain thing. The same goes for worrying about things outside of your control. When you're tired, you're more likely to have sort of brain farts and short-fused meltdowns at shit you might think is important, but it's really not. And instead of taking the step back and realizing that and not wasting your energy and burning calories on that, something that you can't control, you go in on it. And you start bitching and moaning about it for no real reason, just because it makes you angry. And you can't control it because you're too tired, too fatigued, and you don't have the nutrients and the energy to be able to use those brain bites for thinking critically. So that's a good one. Get better sleep, and therefore you will eventually be able to worry more about important stuff and worry less about the unimportant stuff. So thank you for that submission, fella. All right, here's another one. This actually goes hand in hand with that previous one. So this guy says he wants to get better at understanding and realizing that he can't control every situation in life, and to not try so hard to control every situation in life. And that's a big deal because it goes back, it goes to the worrying of shit that don't matter. All right? In your life, you can't control everything. Sounds like such a cliche, stupid thing to say, like, no shit, Libretti, you can't control everything. But think about it for a second. How many times have you gone out of your way to try to control a situation or solve a problem or have an opinion on something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter at all and you can't control, and anything you're going to say or do is not going to change that fact? It's a lot. Okay, I do it a lot. Everybody does it all the time. Okay? And if we could, again, take that LPDS step back when the opportunity arises to realize, to think about, is my energy and effort into this subject going to positively affect this situation? Or am I going to be able to control something? And if the answer is no, then don't do anything with it. Now, it sounds simple. I know it's not, though. I get it. But if you acknowledge the fact that you had this shortfall and this problem in the past, and you're trying to work on it, acceptance and acknowledgement is the first step to recovery here, folks. So now that you can acknowledge that you have this shortfall, you can now be more actively mindful of when these opportunities arise to not have to control every situation and just be there for support, or to sit back and understand that nothing I'm going to do is going to change this, so I'm not wasting my time and energy and affecting the time and energy of other people around me in a negative light by doing something about it. All right? And you'll see, by doing that slowly but surely, you'll have a better way, better go of it, a better life ahead of you, because you won't be ensconced in negativity and crap you can't do anything about. So there you go. Thank you for that. This other one right here, this person says that if she can improve one thing, it'd be her confidence in herself. She understands, she goes, I understand that I probably have a lot to offer, and I would be closer to a quote-unquote 10 on the girl scale, on the hot girl scale overall, if I had more confidence in myself. And let me tell you something. You're absolutely right. All right, thank you for the submission. You're absolutely right. This person, you have so much going for you. You got an education. You're independent. You're a homeowner. You got a job, a career. Really, you've been working at this field for a long time. And I'm not going to divulge the specifics of this stuff because it's not my place to divulge this stuff. This person wanted to keep it anonymous, so you got it going on, okay? And all you need to do, and again, sounds so easy. All you need to do is look at yourself in the mirror and realize it. Yeah, do you have problems? Yeah. Do you have shit going on in your life that might be negative? It might come off as problematic to other people? Yeah, probably. Maybe you got some baggage. Yeah. Who doesn't? All right? Who doesn't have baggage or problems or insecurities or shortfalls? This is what this episode is about. Identifying our shortfalls. But that doesn't mean you don't got it going on. And that's something that's tough to realize, to look inside yourself and understand. I know what I gotta work on, and I'm gonna continue working on it. But I'm also a pretty bad bitch, and I don't like to use cool guy terms often because I sound like a schvook when I do it. But you're a bad bitch, and you gotta understand that. You gotta realize that. And you gotta, if whatever it takes to realize that, whether you gotta put post-it notes on your wall or look yourself in the mirror and say it out loud every day until it actually resonates inside of you, then do that. Because you got it going on. Write it down every day. Write one or two good things about yourself that make you a catch in life. Not just for guys. Forget about guys. And I know that could be why you're feeling so down on yourself. Because guys suck and they're stupid and you don't have one yet. I don't know, that could be it, but don't worry about guys. Do it for yourself. Write down something good about yourself that you're proud of. Maybe you overcame some sort of adversity. Maybe you're proud that you got out of a toxic relationship in the past and you're able to work through those wounds and those scars and still live a happy life. Maybe you kept some plants alive, and that's pretty cool thing to do. I can't even get tomatoes. So if you got plants going, you did it. So whatever it is you got to do to realize how good you are, how awesome you are, that'll build your confidence. Knowing the good about yourself, knowing what's good about yourself, and then also acknowledging your shortfalls and understanding that you're a work in progress and that's okay. That's going to boost your confidence, okay? Because we all have shortfalls. We all have issues and problems and baggage and things we can improve upon. We just got to be cool with it and understand. That doesn't mean be cool with it, acknowledge it, and don't do anything about it. No, we're going to do something about it, but we also have to be okay with the fact that we're human. And we got shit that we got to deal with. All right? It doesn't mean we're useless because of it. You're not useless. You're awesome. Thank you for that submission. I hope it helps a little bit. What else we got here? Next one here. This person said this. I like this one too because it's not just about them. I want to get better and improve my physical fitness. Not just for myself, although, he said it'll make him healthier, and he's absolutely right, but it's to be an example, a better example for his children, to show them the importance of health and wellness and fitness, physical fitness, and how important it is, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well, so that they can grow up in that culture, that environment of being health conscious. And that's not just about looking skinny. That's about being mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy for yourself and for the important people around you. So that's a great thing to want to improve. Even no matter how good you are at it, you always want to keep improving. That's a journey that should never end until the day you die. You should always strive to get better physically, mentally, and emotionally in the fitness department. So that's a great submission right there, and I hope it works out for you. I hope you do it. And again, it's follow the big three. One thing at a time on the big three, and you'll eventually get there. I promise you. The big three is as tried and true as anything else in life. If you just follow that, I promise you'll get there. So thank you for that submission, buddy. All right, this one right here, I'm pretty sure this is a joke, but this person said that they want to get better at not being right all the time because it's affecting their marriage. So this has to be a joke. I hope this person understands that they're not always right because in all seriousness, if they do believe that, then it's probably going to have a negative effect on their marriage because if anybody is always right in a relationship, it's the wife. Okay, it's not the husband. It's not the broke dick, stupid husband or significant other. It's the wife or the girlfriend. They're always right, even when they're wrong. All right, and the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be able to live a happier life with way less fighting, and maybe you'll get to do more sex with your wife. I don't know, but. Yeah, be better at that. You're not right all the time. Nobody's right all the time except for your significant other, specifically that person. So there you go. Thank you for that. The next submission here, this person said that they want to be a better writer. And that's cool because it's not just about just writing to write. This person, I'm sure, writes, maybe journal entries. I know they write like stories and other stuff like that for entertainment purposes, but I'm sure they're writing for themselves too. Maybe diary, a journal entry, some sort of internal blog that helps them, get their thoughts out better, more effectively, and that's therapeutic. Writing is therapeutic because it's getting your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings out on the table. Some people go to therapy and talk to a doctor or a psychologist or a counselor or whatever it is. And that's how they're getting their feelings and emotions out to better identify them so they can take that look inside themselves. Writing is the same thing. It's more of a one-way process because you're not getting immediate direct feedback back from a counselor or another human being, but you're getting the feedback back. And that sounds weird, the feedback back. But you're getting it back. It's a little bit more indirectly, but when you write down how you're feeling that day, what you did, how that made you feel, whether you accomplished your goals or not, and you get it down effectively and more eloquently, and you go back and read through it, now you're able to see outside yourself a little bit, okay? Because now the thoughts and the feelings of the day are out of you. And you can read them from a perspective of somebody else, from a third party or something, an outside source. Now you're reading about something as if it's from somebody else, and you can more objectively see what's going on inside of here. And you can adjust as appropriate if you need to get better at something or if you're feeling sad about something. You're able to take that step back because now it's here on paper and it's out in the world as opposed to just dying inside you and killing you inside or whatever it's doing. So being able to write better will absolutely help you in that regard if that's what you're doing. So thank you for that. I hope that's a little bit helpful for you. But yeah, the more you write, the better you're going to get at it. And that listen to me, guys. These concepts sound simple because they are simple. There are no tricks. There are no secret sauces to make the sausage, okay? It's simple stuff here. We just got to do it. It's just difficult to actually do. That's what separates the top from the bottom in this world when it comes to everything. The successful people, the failures, the happy, the sad. The separation is because the successful and the happy are taking the time to do these simple concepts day in and day out. And they built the discipline around it to be able to do that stuff. But this stuff is simple to do. There's no secrets. Okay? And anyone who says they got the secret for you, they're selling you snake oil. Don't do it. Okay? Don't listen to them. But the more you're right, the better you're eventually going to get. Because you're gonna start writing, and it's going to sound like garbage. It's going to look like gibberish grammatically, maybe. And you're going to force yourself to either, maybe you'll go look up a word, like, oh, what's this word I'm thinking of? I can't remember it, blah, blah, blah. You go look it up. This is the word, juxtapose. And then now you have a new word that you remember, and you'll use it more frequently. And that'll make room in your brain for more words and more thoughts and how to get better, in that regard. So obviously I have a lot of work to do in the verbal department because I'm constantly tripping over my tongue, talking with marbles in my mouth, can't think of what I want to say. It's one of the reasons why I even started this damn podcast. But just write, okay? It doesn't have to be a story. It doesn't have to make any sense to anybody else but you. It doesn't have to make sense to you. Just write your thoughts down. I'm sad. Today sucked. My kid pooped his diaper. He sucks. Why am I so sad about this? Just write. And eventually that stuff will start coming out onto the paper. And then you can do that introspective look, that objective look, because now it's on paper right here for you. And you can, onward and upward with you. So there you go. Thank you for that. What else we got here? This guy here, this is Sticks. This guy said, the question was, what would you most want to improve on? If you had to pick one thing about yourself to improve, what would you most want to improve? And this person wrote more cutlets. Now, I'm not a betting man. I'm not a winning betting man. I bet, but I lose. But if I were to place a bet on this is coming from Nicky Sticks. Nicky Sticks is a cutlet connoisseur. He's a freak with the cutlets. He loves a good chicken cutlet. He's ravenous about them. He's constantly fighting my parents to make more chicken cutlets so he can steal them and bring them home with him. And he doesn't need any more cutlets. All right, buddy? If this is you, Sticks, you don't need any more cutlets. All right? So if you want to get better at something, less cutlets. All right? More exercise, more grilled chicken, less cutlets. Thank you for the submission, though. All right, I think this is the last one I got here. This person said, and this sort of goes into some of the other submissions previously, but this person said that they want to be a better listener and less of a quote-unquote fixer. Now, I put that in quotes. That wasn't a direct quote, but what this person's talking about is this is something that guys do all the time, and this is not a brag. Well, I'm not bragging by any means, but the mentality of a man, a male, is when somebody comes to them with a problem and talks about it, the first thing we want to do is find the solution for the problem. I'm talking about most men here. I'm generalizing, of course. This is not all men. This is not all dudes that do this. But generally speaking, when somebody comes to us with a problem, especially if it's a significant other, we want to solve it for them. We think that's going to help them out the most because logically speaking, if I have a problem and I solve the problem and I fix the issue, it is no longer a problem. And that's just math, okay? Problem plus solution equals no more problem. They cancel each other out. So that's what we want to do for the most part. When someone comes to us with an issue or is talking about how bad their day was, you want to go and solve it for them to make them feel better. That's what you think in your head. That's what we think in our head is going to help. In reality, though, a lot of times people just want to vent and talk and be heard. And it's very difficult for us men, us stupid, stinking men, to understand that. Because we hear problem. We got a problem. I got this. I'm sad. I'm angry. This and that. And we just want to go into problem-solving mode. Whether it's to make them feel better or it's to get them off your back, whatever the reason why we do it, we just know in our stupid brains, if I solve this problem, it will no longer be a problem. Therefore, no more complaining. Everybody's happy. That's not how it is in real life, though, folks. Especially if you're married or dating a lass. Sometimes they just want to be heard and they want to vent. And they want you to listen to them. And they don't want their problem solved. They just want you to actively listen to them and acknowledge that they're going through some shit. And they want you to be there for them emotionally. So that they can vent and get it off their chest. And then you guys cuddle. And they put your head in your cleavage, their head in your cleavage, or vice versa. And you drink wine and you watch television. That's what they want sometimes. Sometimes that's what we all want. There's a lot of times, even in my life, where I know I can solve the problem. Look, I'm very confident in my ability to solve problems. And that's not a brag, because there's a lot of times I go to solve a problem and I don't. But I'm still confident that I'm going to try and I have a likelihood to do it because I'm confident in myself in that regard. But sometimes I just want to bitch and moan about something, or I want to get something off my chest and vent about it and feel like I'm being heard. I feel like the person I'm talking to is listening to me and acknowledges that in some way, shape, or form because it shows you care. If you care about something or somebody, you're going to listen to them. You're going to hear what they have to say. So I feel that. I get that. But I'm also a guy, so I understand that we want to solve shit all the time. So listen, pal. When your wife is talking to you and she's venting about something, just shut up and listen. Once again, a simple solution, a simple concept that's very difficult to do. But maybe you can make a little bit of like an exercise for yourself to get better at this. All right. So when your gal comes to you and says, I had a shit day at work, or I want to talk to you about something, to get your mind out of problem-solving mode, find some sort of thing you can do that shifts your brain space into listening mode. Do a little Pavlovian dog sort of situation where you can get muscle memory going so that when she says, oh, I had a shitty day at work, or I'm sad, or I'm angry, your response immediately is you grab a bottle of wine and you grab 2 glasses, you grab some scotch or whiskey, whatever you guys like to drink, hot cocoa, coffee, tea, whatever. You just go to that. And that's all you do. Hey, I'm sad. Let's drink some tea or let's drink some wine and talk about it. That's your first immediate response is you go into that. Your flight or fight response is let's get some wine and talk about it. Now you know inside yourself it's time for me to listen only. Shut my stupid problem-solving brain off and listen to this important person in my life. And then she'll see like, oh, he is listening because he knows that I like to drink wine or I like to do this. Whatever she likes to do, whether it's she likes to vent and drink wine, smoke a cigar, rip a heater. Maybe she likes to, have a schmag every once in a while, a nice Newport, whatever it is. Figure out what that is. And as soon as she starts getting into vent mode, you go into listen mode. That is how you engage your listen mode. Make it a little exercise. Because now every time she says I'm sad or I'm angry or I want to talk, I'm bummed. You now, Pavlov's dog, boom, grab wine, here you go, let's go sit and talk about it. And now you know actively, this is time for me to listen and not try to solve the problem. Listen, acknowledge, actively listen. When she's talking, you can respond to her, oh yeah, that really sucks, I understand what's going on. Oh, I've been there. Oh, I've never experienced that. I don't know how that is. That sucks. Whatever it is, if actively listen to her and you'll figure out from there. You'll be able to respond appropriately. We're not just giving empty responses here. But that could be a good little game. I don't want to call it a game because we're not toying with the emotions of our significant others here. But it's a good exercise for you to get your brain in the right space to listen attentively and not try to be the fixer. Because I do it too. I was the worst at it in my first relationship ever. 19-year-old humphead kid, knew everything. I knew everything at 19. Can you believe that? I knew everything at 19. I know it's tough for you guys to have to swallow, a tough pill to swallow that I already knew everything at 19 and you idiots didn't, but I did. And every time my girlfriend at the time was venting about something, she was angry or whatever it was, I had the answer for her. I was going to solve the problem because I had the answer. And then when I didn't, when she got mad at that or it wasn't good enough, I had no idea why. Because I'm a stupid, hard-headed idiot dude and thought that if I just solved the problem will be gone. When in reality, the problem is she just wanted to be heard. She wanted to feel valued and that someone was going to actually listen to her because wherever she was before, whether she was in class or at work or wherever, at her family's house, whatever it was, she wasn't being valued there. Her boss sucked, her teachers sucked, the kids at school sucked, whatever it was, she wasn't being valued appropriately there and she wanted to be valued somewhere. She wanted to be heard and respected and listened to. And I just wasn't getting it. I just thought like, oh, physics was tough. Here's how you find out the acceleration of this ball going down a ramp on a frictionless surface. It's very simple. I don't understand why you're getting so angry about it. I didn't understand it. But now I'm starting to understand it a little bit better. So I've been there, buddy. I know what you're saying. It is very tough. It's still tough for me because the first thing, our instinct is to try to fix shit before we take the step back and realize that fixing shit actually sometimes makes shit worse. So hopefully that exercise works for you. Let me know how it goes, dude. All right, hit me in the hotline or hit me in the DMs or the comments. Let me know how that goes. For all you guys, let me know how this stuff works. These are simple concepts, guys. I understand that. But they're difficult to do, and this is why most of us don't do them. Okay? I get it. But give them a shot. Do the baby step approach and give them a shot. Now, I don't have a specific thing to talk about now that I want to most improve upon myself because it is like you already know what it is. This is the reason I started this podcast. It's to be able to think more introspectively, take that step back and look inside myself. Now, initially the podcast, I started it so I can be able to critically analyze situations faster or topics quicker and be able to form coherent, objective opinions on those topics and be able to verbalize them appropriately in a manner that was captivating, entertaining, and coherent. But in reality, the big thing I wanted to work on, and I still do, and what this podcast and what you guys taught me was I want to and I need to continue getting better at taking the step back in situations and taking all the information in, looking introspectively before taking an action on that, whether it's a verbal action or a physical action or whatever it is, before reacting. So I don't have a specific example, but that's what I continue to try to work towards, and it's become one of the cornerstones of this LPDS universe is taking the LPDS step back and assessing the situation for what it really is, and taking all the information in and analyzing like intelligence professionals before making decisions based off of that information. And that helps in every aspect of life. Every aspect, whether it's political opinions, emotional responses on social media to things you don't otherwise like, serious situations that happen in public, talking to your significant other who just wants to be heard, all this stuff. When it comes to fitness, instead of just going hard in the paint and trying to lift all the heavy weights or being too lazy thinking you can push it off to tomorrow, all this stuff, take the step back and assess the situation before making a decision on that and taking action. That's what I want to continue getting better at. And I'll always talk about it. I always want to mention that. So that's my submission for this question. And that's all we got for this topic. So I hope that helped a little bit. Hope it helped a little bit. How you doing? But let me know. Give me the feedback and let me know how it's going to go for you. And you can be, a day from now, it can be a year from now, whatever it is, let me know how it's going. So that we can continue working towards improving you, getting you to your goal. So there you go. That's it. Before we go, the big three. Now, I talked about the big three a lot this episode because it all ties together. For you newcomer out there, the big three are the three pillars to the LPDS to staying strong and being a better, happier, more stress-free human being and spreading that goodness and positivity to the rest of the world. The reason why we talked about the big three a lot in this episode is because these three simple pillars are in everything. This is why they're the big three. Okay? They're simple concepts, but they're so important that they tie into literally everything in our entire existence. Every aspect of our lives, if we work on the big three and improving those and focusing on those, it'll improve every other aspect of our lives. It sounds crazy. It sounds wild that only three things? Yeah, only three things, okay? You don't need 58 rules to be a man. You don't need all this other crap to get better in life. If you follow these three, if you focus on improving yourselves in the big three, these three aspects, everything will fall into place. And this is not some cockamamie, pie-in-the-sky idea here, folks. It's tried and true, and you know it is. You know it is. And for you newcomers, the big three, number one, exercise every day. And it's as simple as going for a walk after a meal, burning calories, getting out there, doing something physically to get your heart rate up, to get your blood pumping, to get the endorphins surging through your body, the good chemicals going through so you can have... Look, this is not just like, to get the chemicals and the juices flowing. The juices are legitimate chemicals inside your body that are healthy for you, that make you happy or make you feel better about yourself because you are improving yourself, okay? And it comes off surface level, it's physical fitness. Exercising gets you physically healthier. But with that comes mental and emotional health and wellness as well. And that's why exercising every day is so important. Even on your rest days, you don't have to work out hardcore in the gym every day. Your rest day should be a walk. Simple as a walk or a couple jumping jacks. Move your bodies. Get out there and do something. And you'll feel better and you'll be healthier physically, mentally, and emotionally. Number two is the hardest one to do. And it's the action by inaction. It's don't be a shitty person. Okay? If you become entrenched in the negative and the shittiness of the world around you, you're gonna be a shitty, negative person. Okay? You are, they always say that you are what you eat. You are what you surround yourself around. Okay? I was a baseball fanatic. I was a baseball guy when I played in high school and college. My entire existence was around baseball. So all I did was watch baseball shows, played baseball video games, worked out to be better at baseball. Everything was that I was a baseball guy. All these nut jobs out there on social media who are entrenched around and surrounded by negativity are negative people. They're usually shitty people online, and that their lives are become shitty because of it. Because all they do is they get entrenched. I don't know another word because I'm an idiot, but they're so involved in the negative of taking jabs on the internet, on Instagram and the twit, and on email blogs and comments, and they're just deep into this realm of negativity and shittiness, and then they wonder why they're a sad, negative, angry human being all the time, because their entire existence is living in the negative. So when the opportunity arises to be a shitty person and to take a jab at someone, thinking it's just a profile on Instagram or social media or Twitter, just don't do it. Just take the step back and don't do it. Okay? This is, again, a simple math concept here, math problem here. If you have a shitty situation, shitty person here doing shitty things, and you respond to them with shittiness, you are doubling the shit and the negative in the world now, in that situation. You are not solving a problem. You are not making things better. You are not teaching people a positive lesson. You are doubling the shit and the negativity. It's as simple as that. So just by the simple act of inaction, don't do anything, don't respond at all, you will actually be helping yourself and those around that situation, because there will be less negativity around it and around you. And the less negativity and the less shit you surround yourself with, the better off you're going to be. All right? That was a little long-winded, but it's important because it's a tough one to actually do. Number 3, the final one, the most important one, is to be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And this goes back to the simple muscle memory concept. If you think about one thing in your life that's good and actively think about it and be grateful for it, thank yourself, thank the Lord or whoever you believe in for putting this in your life, eventually you get to the point where you're living in a constant state of gratitude for all the good you got, because you understand that it could be gone in a heartbeat. And you understand that you could be in way worse of a situation in your life than you are right now. And that understanding is going to lead to that more positive outlook on life and that environment of gratitude, that culture of gratitude that you're going to eventually pass on to others. And you couple that with not being a shitty person and being a good person instead. And you couple that with exercising and improving your physical, mental, and emotional fitness and health. That's how you're going to be a better, happier person, better human being overall. That's the three, the big three, the simplest things you can do. They're so simple it sounds stupid. That's how you stay strong. That's how you do it. That's it. That's the answer. It sounds crazy. You think like, oh, it's never that simple. It's never that easy. It's that simple. These concepts are simple. They are just difficult to actually conduct and do. And we understand that here at the LPDS. We're gonna move forward anyway. We're gonna endure. All right? That's all I got now, guys. Thank you guys again for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the hotline 202-670-1114. Let me know how this shit's going for you. If I've helped or not. If I had the opposite effect. Whatever it might be, let me know. Hit the hotline. Send me a DM on Instagram. Email Libretti Podcast Diary at gmail.com. Whatever you got to do, let me know. the Facebook page, Libretti Podcast Diary Show. Keep me informed. Spread the knowledge to your friends and your enemies, so that we can keep this show going, so that more people can get these life lessons and be a little, entertained and feel silly in the process. And things will be good for you guys, I promise. All right. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.